Welcome to another instalment. Today is going to be the carbon making of the bumper. So I'm just going to quickly sort of go over what I've done here. We'll start round the backside. All I've done is I bolted the original part of the bumper, this part, to the car. All the fixing points were smashed, so they're all split here, but I put washers on, fixed that to the car, and then just riveted plates, on the cracked areas, where they were split, just to get some sort of shape. I already said this the other day, but from there, obviously we've got that positioned where it's meant to be. It's not perfect under the headlights, but it's a race car in it. It's never going to be perfect. So, well, it would be if I'd spent loads of time on it, but I'm not spending loads of time on it, so I haven't got loads of time. We've built then a frame out of wood. This is just a bit of more of a close-up, so you can see what I've actually done. And then from there, we've just picked a design as simple as we can get it, and then just use this polypropylene flooring covering. Do you know, like when you've put fresh screed down on the floor when you're doing building work, you put this polypropylene sheet down so you can walk on it, don't trash all the floor. So it repels resin quite nicely. So that's what this is made out of. It's from Wickes, it's about £5. I've shown you it before, but we've gone round and hot glue gunned to the bumper. I know this is not ideal because there's going to be a ridge, but we've hot glue gunned it to the bumper all the way around. Made a bit of a shape to match up with the old the wide arch on the wide arch panel on the wing, and then just gone around and reinforced it. Made this up to the intercooler, as we'd said, just with some little support triangles, so it's like relatively strong. And then there's a bit of flex in this last night, so I've gone over the back edge just so it's strong, so it's not going to sag down, so it stays in that sort of horizontal position. And then just the odd reinforcement bit here and there, to stop this sagging. Here, just literally hot melt glue, just literally a hot glue gun there and some hot melt glue, and yeah, that's it. And then we've gone over with filleting wax any of the cracks and gaps. Like, this was a bad bit of damage, and I know this is not perfect, it's far from perfect. There's going to be the odd ripple and whatnot, but we're not making a B mold of this. We're making we're cheating. We're doing the skinning method, same as I did with the wings. I never showed you it, but it's what I did with the wings, and quite a lot of the panels on the car, overskinned, so the panel is slightly marginally oversized, but I don't have the space to store a mould and the money to spend, I don't know, £300-500 making a mould. Like a B mould of this, and then to take the part out from that mould. Same as I did with the doors, basically. And the doors are still sat on my other house at the other side of the country. So anyway, what we've done from there, filleting wax all the way around over any like damaged areas where there's splits in the carbon and whatnot. And then I was going to PVA it, but I just never get on with PVA release agent. It always separates, and whatever cleaning products I've used on the bumper before, and just... So what I have used is the Easy Lease. I found some in the box of goodies down there. So I've put 5 coats on this last night. So it just wants one more coat now, and then you could seal this wood with some wood sealant and then go over it with this Easy Lease, but I'm not. I'm just going to put some real thin pre-preg release film on, which is like this stuff. Probably just spray glue it on, probably just with that. I've got some like of the stuff what you get from Easy Composites, this stuff, Fusion Fix GP, just like spray adhesive, real thin. So yeah, that's it. And I've glued all the grilling as well, just hot melt glue all the way around, filleting wax all the way around there. So yeah, that's it really. I'm going to put one more coat of this on now, and then the dogs are getting really impatient. So, John, Ned, you need to go for a walk, don't you? So let's get one more coat of this on. Then I can take the dogs for a walk, and then we can come back and get this covered in carbon. some plastic film, literally just spray glued it on with that stuff that I showed you earlier, that Fusion Fix. Sprayed it on, stuck it in place. I'm not really too fussed about it. I just don't want carbon sticking to the wood, and it's just a pain in the ass when you come to demold it. Rather just have that there and then it can just come off easy. So what I'm going to do now is I've got, as you can see in the corner there, big roll of carbon. We're going to cut that, lay it in place, and then we're going to use the spray glue again to spray it all into location, and then go over with the resin, and then foam core and then carbon. You get the idea. Not foam core everywhere either, just in a few of the larger span areas and a few of the nooks and crannies where it's going to be beneficial, the mounting points and stuff like that. Because I don't want it to be majorly over thick to what it is now, and obviously if I put foam core in, it's like 2 mil, I think it is, 2 mil foam core. This stuff. Yeah, does it say on this? No, sorry, no. But it's like, whoa, that was too close. It's like 2 mil thick. So, yeah. I'll get the carbon cut out, we'll get it laid on. Wow, that was an effort. So interestingly enough, this roll I've got like it's quite thick. It's like 450 GSM, and it's BMW carbon fibre, believe it or not. And interestingly enough, as I've got part way down through the roll, it was a second, factory second, and I think this is what it's meant to look like. And obviously it's spread, separated a bit, but I've made, remember the end panels, that's like the finished product. Let me go show you that. This is obviously the smashed one, but this is one I made from this same stuff. This is literally going to be exactly the layup of the bumper. So you can see how strong it is. It's 2 mil Lantasoric. It's mega strong. Well, strong enough to be the mem plates. So that's what it'll look like finished, laid up in resin. But yeah, there's the general shape. I've got a few little bits to add in here and in here, but that's going to be layer one. Obviously we're going to trim around this edge here. That's just like an overspill sort of thing. But yeah, that layer one. So now we're going to paint it all in resin, EL2, that stuff up there. And then we're going to put the foam core in the areas that we need to, which is in there, and then go on top with the final same exact layer as that. I might, I'm obviously going to pay more attention to the critical areas, you know, the stretch areas like these here, where it's all bunched up. But yeah, I'm happy with it for the time that I've taken, you know, doing it. It looks all right. There's a few ridges and stuff. There's a bit where I've not put the glue there. You can see it's like a bit, I've not put any contact adhesive underneath. But it's relatively flat, so it should be all right. But yeah, get resin in it. That's one coat on. It's looking, it's all right. It's thankfully held shape. I remember when I did the wings before, I didn't use the spray glue on the underneath, and it all started bubbling off. It has done it. An example would be there. That's where I've not put the spray glue adhesive, and it's just started lifting. So if you can picture that, but everywhere that is any sort of tight line, so like that edge there specifically, that would all be lifted. The bottom edge would all be lifted. So the answer is spray adhesive, this stuff. And you get it from Easy Composites, Fusion Fix. I think I've changed it now, this is old, but you can actually vary the nozzle size as well, low, medium and high, or whatever. So now we're going to put another coat on, because let me grab a couple of bits of carbon so I can explain better. Ah, they just appeared. So this is one layer of this carbon. So this represents exactly what that is as it sits now. As you can see, well, this is actually a door card for my new doors that I'm making. And my new doors, if you remember, they're the same thickness. And I think it's too thin. Like, it's like paper. So one layer is a no-go. So, but this is another piece that we've made up, and this is 2 layers. So it's what I planned this to be. What I said earlier in the video, I was going to make it foam core, you know, same as this, but I haven't got enough foam core, and I think it's overkill. It doesn't need to be that. It doesn't need to be that. It's just going to make it heavier. So this is the sort of thickness of 2 layers of this. I thought it was 450 GSM and it's 300 GSM, sorry, but yeah, I think that's going to be adequate for a bumper. It is only a covering, there's no structural support, as long as it don't go flying off. It's going to have 4 of them little, you know, them little like push rivet things. Oh, bit of a puddle of resin there. Them like little push rivet things, 1, 2, 2 in the middle, the same as the old bumper. I'll put a picture in the screen now, and then on the corner, and then it's just going to be bolted, same as OEM, and then sort of them push rivets, you know, on the top there. So it's not, it doesn't need to be like super solid structurally. It is just a covering, but I think that one that I just showed you, you know, the thin 1 layer of carbon, I think it is going to all fold in, and it's not going to be strong enough. So yeah, that's the plan. So what we're doing now is wait until B stage, give it about another hour and a half, and then we'll put some more spray glue down, because we don't want it doing it again, you know, like we don't want it peeling, like lifting up like what it has there. Spray glue actually on top of that, and then lay the carbon on, and then dab, obviously with the resin, sorted, and that'll be that. And then the only thing left to do after that is reinforce the areas where the bolt holes are going. So the back of here, the back of there, I'll put some foam core and then some carbon, but that's after we demold it. And then finally, I'll have to make the decision whether I'm going to match the rest of the car, you know, so sand it up and make it look like that, you know, obviously multiple layers, probably 4 layers of resin and many hours of sanding and polishing, or whether we're just going to leave it like that. I'll see how it looks. If it looks jank, then we'll have to polish it up. That's the second and final layer of carbon on there now. What I've done is, I've done it as if I'm doing like a skinning. So if you're watching this, you've probably seen skinning tutorials. And basically, when you're skinning stuff, you can just get any parts and then put a layer of carbon over it. And then it's carbon skinned. I did this with the original, they're carbon skinned. They're fiberglass underneath from ABW, and I've just carbon skinned them. So in the carbon skinning process, you'd put like a EL2 resin with a black dye in it, paint it on the bumper. Only difference being you wouldn't put a release agent, you'd put like what we have here, you'd key the surface, so that it stayed stuck. And then you'd leave it to go to the B stage cure for 3 to 4 hours, and then put your carbon on and then leave it for a further 3 hours so that the carbon is stuck, so it doesn't move around when you put the resin on. And then after that 3 hours, you put the top coat of resin. So anyway, that was a big gobful, but in short, we're leaving this now for 3 hours, and then we'll put the final coat, not the final coat of resin, but the final coat of resin for this process. And then tomorrow we can trim up, and then we'll put 3 more coats of EL2 resin on, flat all back, and then 1 final coat of probably XCR, which is like a coating resin, a UV stable resin. And that's it. Flat and polish. Done. Finitoed. Move on to the next job. I've just missed the delivery for the turbo, but I have just got the delivery with the final bit from BC, which is the replacement roll centre adjustment, the hard race track rod ends. So that we can put the front end completely together now, and this job needs doing as well. We put I showed you doing the bearing in the last video, but I just popped that seal in the back there, bit of red rubber grease on there as well. I actually tapped it around with a little punch, just gently all the way around. And there's also a new castle nut there. So yeah, I'll stop rambling and we'll come back to this in 3 hours. There we have it. Eventually, second coat applied. You can't really get a visual of what it's going to be like until you start getting a few more coats of resin on. But anyway, it's late now, so I'm going to leave that overnight to set, and then we'll come back to it in the morning and hopefully trim and demold. I'll see you in the morning. Well, I'll see you in about 2 seconds. It's demold day. I'm about to go out and start demolding. I'm going to trim around all the edges first whilst it's still in the mould, just to make it easier so I can see where to cut. It's really windy outside, so you won't hear what I'm saying, but yeah, we'll trim it, demold it. Wish me luck. I'm over the moon. It looks really good. I don't know whether to just leave it like that because of excuse me, just pure, I say pure ease of making, but it wasn't that difficult. Make the mould, cover it in a couple of layers of carbon and resin it. If I spend loads and loads of hours sanding it and putting loads more coats of resin on now, it's just purely for looks, and it is a race car. I'd say let me know in the comments what you think, but it's going to be done before you see in this video. So anyway, what do we want to know is the weight of it. That's all we're really interested in. So let me get it on the scales somehow. I'll try and get the bathroom scales down and try and lift it. I should get some luggage scales. Actually, I might have some. Let me go grab them. Difficult for me to hold this on here, but it is 1.95 kilos. Yeah, that was a pain in the ass to hold, but yeah, 1.95 kilos untrimmed, because we've just got this edge to trim off, and then we've got to sand it all up and clean it all up. So I reckon 1.8 kilos, maybe 1.9. I'm happy with that for a wet layup. It's not infused or anything. It's 5 kilos lighter than the plastic original bumper. So yeah, it's a nice little saving. Anyway, that sums up this video. I'll do a quick time lapse of me putting it on the front bumper, and I've just got to trim the toe and eye cover out of there. Just thought I'd update with the trimmed and de-waxed weight, which is 1.75 kilos. Can you see that there? 1.75. There we have it. All bolted up. So I just had to do a bit of trimming around, you know, where I'd put the new oil cooler. And I might paint them black because they look shit. But obviously the radiator is going to be on that anyway, so I'll blend it out a bit. I've just got the 2 pins to go here and here, you know, them push release things. You can see them on the splitter down. No, you can't, can you? Them things. Just got them to drill through in the corresponding place. There, and then one in that corner and one in the other corner, and then the 2 bolt holes to bolt, you know, to drill up in there. If you can see, can you see? No chance. But anyway, yeah, it fits all right. So it was a bit of a rush job. Obviously, when that's pushed back, they'll push up nicely against the intercooler. So now the decision is: do we spend 3 days putting 4 more layers of resin on to make it match the rest, like this sort of glossy effect, or do we leave it? Jodie says I shouldn't make it match the rest. So now she's made me think. Anyway, that rounds up today's video. Catch you in the next one. Take it easy.